What's up guys, Manu here and welcome back to the channel. A couple of videos ago I talked about bad customer service from a premium motorcycle dealership where me and a client received probably the worst sales experience ever. Bad rapport, lousy vehicle registration processes, absolutely no regard for customer satisfaction, and lack of after-sales support. I did not mention the dealership's name for the sake of my protection and my clients as well. You know how certain individuals react to such bad reviews, especially if it's done on social media. In this video, I'll be talking about another lousy experience that me and my father this time have experienced from that same dealership. But this time, I'll be mentioning the brand, but for my protection, I still won't mention the name of the dealership. And that brand is Honda, a brand that I grew up with and introduced me to the world of motorcycles with the countless bikes that we have owned and experienced in the past. Now before I proceed with my story, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you like my content, please subscribe to my channel. A small favor that I ask from you that would help me a lot in growing my channel. And feel free to share your thoughts and opinions on this topic in the comment section below. With that out of the way, let's begin. This story begins in the early months of 2017 with our acquisition of a mildly modified 1984 Honda CBX750F, an import model acquired from a fellow motorcycle enthusiast that we have known for a while. The bike was in good running condition, and by that I mean it runs good, everything works, but with some minor fixes needed. In a way, it was an impulse purchase by my father, who at that time was looking for a retro sport touring machine. So he rode it around, even took it out on long-distance inter-island trips, and it performed really well according to him. After quite some time, the age and condition of the bike started showing and definitely needs a good service. A stuck starter switch, blown fork seals, and a minor engine leak that needed attention. For enthusiasts like us living in this part of the world, fixing these issues was a simple visit to a local independent mechanic with years of trial and error experience. Now the following year, 2018, Honda finally started selling their bigger motorcycles locally. After all these years of selling small displacement commuter bikes and generators to the masses, they finally decided to catch up with Kawasaki, BMW, Harley-Davidson, and Yamaha in the big motorcycle market. With their strong following, getting people on the showroom floor was easy for the brand, and for a time, this Honda dealership was the hottest in our region. People from other islands coming in to buy the latest, and they had a marketing team that was simply doing an awesome job. Not only that, followers of the brand with gray market bikes like me and my dad were drawn by the thought that Honda is finally here and we might get a decent fix from a highly trained technician. Obviously, we went there, informed the service representative about our concerns, and they gladly took in our old CBX for repairs. With the thought that this dealership is legit, with a huge inventory of parts and direct access to Japan support, we left our bike with confidence and trust that they would fix it as best as possibly could. I mean, they took it in with no hesitations or whatsoever. Now this was already in the middle of 2018 and my old man bought a brand new Honda Africa Twin 1000, just in time to fill the void of not having a fast touring bike. Speaking of, check out my review on this bike, link in the description below. So weeks passed since we left the CBX at Honda and no word from them. We made a follow-up. They said the bike is lined up but has already been checked by the parts department. Fine, okay, no rush since we have a stable of other motorcycles. Months passed and still no update. Made another follow-up and they said parts are in back order but the bike is on the lift with the broken parts sticking out. Okay, fine, no problem, finally some progress, but why did it take them so long? Still no rush on our part though. Here comes 2019, a very hectic year for me. Work got me occupied with so many events, wife was pregnant with our third child at that time, and I was out riding my vintage Honda on weekends, and my dad was also preoccupied with projects of his own and out riding his new Africa Twin all the time. You can say we basically forgot about the CBX during this time. Now, by this time, if you were the dealership, what would you have done? Obviously, give us a heads up on the status of our bike, right? Take note, this was already 2019, a year after we left it with them. So 2020 came and we all know what happened back then. Pandemic put a lot of businesses in hot water, no work, the economy was bad, people using TikTok. Basically everyone was bored to death with all the quarantine and no tourism. By 2021, things got a bit better in most places. Lesser restrictions, but still boring as hell. I started this YouTube channel and from there I was reminded about the CBX. So in May of that year, I went there personally, asked what's going on and how is the bike, and lo and behold, a still broken CBX with a dead battery, dry rotted tires, and with more broken pieces. Technician handling the bike was kind enough to inform me that the starter works, or used to work in this case, and they were having a hard time finding fork seals. Of all the things that they could not get, fork seals. The engine leak was still there because they could not get the right parts to fix it. And to make this worse, there was evidence that the bike was dropped. Obviously, I was disappointed, but still gave them one more chance at getting it fixed considering that global trade is recovering from the pandemic. And I talked to the service manager, and at that time, they promised me to make up for the lost time on the bike and in getting it back to running condition. So of course, I gave them the freedom of time once more to get back to me. By this time, we basically got back to being busy with work and business, and we're so preoccupied with more pressing matters such as making ends meet and catching up with payments. So here comes 2022. Things started getting better, but still no word on the CBX. Now the thought of that bike getting back on the road was basically dead in my head. It did not exist anymore as we were too preoccupied with other activities. Fast forward, here comes August and I got a call from Honda. Finally, they called, but the news that they relayed was simply disappointing. After all these years, 5 years in their care, they couldn't fix a CBX, and they simply called because they needed space in their warehouse. They could not get the parts needed and the bike was in storage since the beginning of this year. It was simply put back together and left in their storage together with other bikes that had been forgotten by their owners. So of course I got the bike and never said a word to them again. Too much time has been wasted and a once running motorcycle was simply left broken by a dealership that we once had faith in. Now if you were in our situation, what would you have done? And if you were in the shoes of that Honda dealership, what would you do? If I was the one working at that dealership, I would have kindly backed off from the job of trying to fix the CBX in the first place. Or simply give an honest update that this bike is out of their capabilities. Anyway, that's it for my story. But tell you what, I will be getting this bike fixed and back to running condition once I'm done setting up this shop area. Who knows, I might even start a build series with the help of Revolt Cycles and people that we know. Anyway, hope to see you next time. Bye.